Writing scripts for other people, creating a graphical user interface, part 3, the output. So having created the GUI and then put some code to make it work, let's spend a little bit of time looking at how we can make the output of our script, our code, a little bit more attractive. Okay, if you've been following along, we've created the graphical user interface, we've added some code to it, and now it's time for us to actually present our output. We've got to, I think, maybe do a better job, at least show you some different options for presenting different kinds of output. So where we left this is in the script, in the code, I'm just pumping my events out to outgrid view. Now, I don't mind that. I mean, that type of tabular data looks fine in a grid view, but sometimes you don't need to display tabular data, and something like grid view is not appropriate. So we're going to expand the GUI a little bit. I told you we would start doing some stuff that just you might not actually do, but it's mainly so I can show you how to do different things. So I'm going to add another button here and put it right about there. And on the text, this will tell you what I'm about to do. Show log properties only. And we'll make that nice and big. Everything resized and attractive. And if we click on this, it should have named it something like button show log properties only. Yeah, that's fine. So here's what we'll do. Let's come down here to this again. And if we run get event log computer name dc.lab.pri, and I'm getting to what I'm after here. List log name, let's say it's security. Oops, can't add the log name. We're going to get them all back, but this is where we also get these properties like maximum size, retention, and overflow action. So if I wanted to get just a particular one, it looks like I'm going to have to pipe it to where object and ask for where log equals whatever the log name is. And then who keeps taking my pen? Oh, here it is. So I'm certain that this property is not max parentheses k. Let's pipe that to get member so we can get the real property names. Oh gosh, there's lots of stuff in here. So we've got log display name, maximum kilobytes. Maximum kilobytes. Yeah, darn right, it's not just max parentheses k. Minimum retention days and overflow action. So these are all things that I want to display, and they don't really need to go into a grid because I'm only displaying them for a single log. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try and pop up a new window to display those pieces of information. And that way I can kind of lay them out nicely. So the first thing I need to do is in my project, where's my project? Here it is. I'm going to add a new file. Add a new file. We're going to add a form, and we're going to call it log properties, because that seems like as good as anything to call it. And we'll make it an dialog style template that has a fixed border and no minimize or maximize buttons. Yeah, that'll work. Awesome. Cool. Show you a neat thing here too. This OK button, which is button OK, I am going to make it so I clicked on the form, so I'm looking at the form properties now, and I'm going to make it stop that, accept button. See, is button OK? They did that for me. I'm also going to make it the cancel button. So those are two properties of the form, accept button and cancel button. What that means is if someone is looking at this and they hit enter, it'll click the OK button, that's accept. If they hit escape, it'll click the OK button, that's cancel. So they can hit enter or escape to dismiss this. They could also click OK or click the little Xy boxy thing. All right. This is mainly going to be labels on here. Where's my label control? Label, label, label. I'll show you a couple of different ways we can do this. Let's do this. We're going to call this label log name because that's what I plan to display there. And I don't want it all left aligned like that. Let's see if we can find an alignment. And it's clearly not called align. Text align. Here we go. I'm not actually going to change the text on this at all. We're going to do that dynamically at runtime. And let's put another label on here, just because I do want to show you a couple of different ways that you could choose to display data. So this one is going to be called max size. And let's do that right aligned. There we go. And then we'll do a couple more of these. We were also displaying retention days. So that'll be the text for that one. And then we'll paste a third one in here. And he is overwrite action. And now we can probably just stick some text boxes in there to display that information. Text boxes. Yeah, there it is. Sometimes you look at these things and they stare you right in the face. So let's put 1, 2. I'm trying to align them real pretty like. There we go. And I need to give these names because I want to be able to refer to them and fill things in. Let's shrink this to be just that big. I'll tell you why in a second. Let's give these some names. Name is going to be text box max size. This one will be text box days. This one will be text box action. And all of these, so I'm going to control click them now, so I can change one property on all of them to be the same. All of these are not going to be enabled. That will allow me to display text in them programmatically, but it will prevent anyone from typing anything. I don't want them to think that they can type a value in here and change the log. They're just looking at this. Whoa, okay. I'm going to show you why that's moving around. This little booger has got an anchor set. He's anchored to always maintain his distance from the bottom right. We're going to undo that. We're going to say anchor off, off, there. That way I can put him right there. Anchors are nice when you have a resizable form. Oh, it didn't take it. Let me just get the form resized and then we'll put him where I want it. That looks nice. Yeah, that's about right. Form is not a very good title for this. Let's change this. Let's put log properties. Now I need to make sure I remember what I named all these dudes. So I'm going to write down label log name. And this was called text box max size. We had days and we had action, which were also text boxes. So let's save that file. And the other thing we might want to set, just again for pretty purposes, is you want to check its startup position. Center screen seems like it might work, but I want to actually make it center of parent. Because my main form is going to be a parent. My main form is going to be the one that calls this one up. And if someone's moved my main form elsewhere, I kind of want this to pop up in the center of this, not floating off somewhere else in the screen. Just my preference, just the way I like to do it. So we've got all that done. Now we need to add the code. So when they click this, I am going to need to retrieve the event log. Log equals get event log list from computer name textbox computer name dot text where log equals, and then this is where we're going to go up to the list log names selected item. So whatever log they've selected. That's going to give me the log. Now I can go about programming, creating an instance of my subform, this one, filling in the 4 pieces of data, the log name, the max size, the retention days, and the override action, and then actually displaying the thing. So now now that I have all the information I need, I can start doing, and it's in here, I can start doing something with that information. So I'll show you how to do that. Now this is where you start to kind of work a little bit more specifically with this tool, the way it wants to be used. And one of the ways it wants to be used is in the code for this. So I'm just going to double click on the form so we can get into its code. we need to add a parameter block for the information that it wants, just like we would for really any other PowerShell script. So we're going to have a log name. We're going to have a max size. We're going to have a days. We're going to have an action. So here in this form load, so this is an event that runs when the form loads for the first time, we can set those things. Label log name equals log name, right? Ooh, and you got to be careful. We're not setting the entire label to that. We're just setting its text property to that. My bad. Text box. Oh, I lost my help there. Text box action. Text equals whatever got passed into action. Text box days. Text is going to be whatever got passed into days. And then text box max size will be whatever got passed into max size. So by declaring this parameter block, we're creating an interface, a way to pass information into this form externally from our other form. In the form event load, so in the load event for this form, when this form loads, we're taking those input passed in values and using them to populate the graphical user interface. We also need to do something for this guy. We need to make sure he knows how to form log properties dot close himself. So when they click OK, that should close that. So now we've kind of got the subform ready to go. Here's how we access him from over here. Call dash, and see there's a built-in call log properties PFF, because that's the file name here. Log properties.pff translates to log properties underscore PFF. And action is going to be log dot overwrite action. And then we also define days, which comes from our log object minimum retention days. Max size we said was what? Maximum kilobytes. Log.maximum kilobytes. And finally, the last one is our log name, which we already know is in list log names dot selected item. So that's how we activate that thing and then pass the information into it. And so now we should be able to click Run Project. Let's see what happens. Computer name dc.lab.pri. Get logs. Okay, let's pick the pick security and only show me the log properties. There we go. Override action did not appear to be filled in. Let's go troubleshoot that. So let's kill this. Yeah, let's take this command and pull up my PowerShell console here. Obvious overflow action, not overwrite action. That was my problem. Overflow action. Save, run. dc.lab.pri, get logs. Show log properties. There we go. Everything's filled in. So now you've seen a couple of ways of producing output. We've used out grid view to display a grid of information. We've also shown you how to create a new secondary form that can display information in whatever kind of layout you might need to do. In that form, you specify a parameter block for the information that's going to be passed in. Use those parameters to construct your display, to fill in your display bits. Make sure you provide a way to close the form. And then in the form that's calling it, you retrieve your information and simply pass that in. We could have actually done this a couple of ways. I could have just passed in the name of the log I wanted, and then over here actually queried the log to get that information. Kind of doesn't matter. 6 of one, half dozen another. Neither of those is going to work substantially differently than the other. But now you've seen another way of presenting output from your GUI. So we created the graphical user interface. We added the code to make it work. And now I've given you some options for presenting output to your tool's users in some different ways. The last thing we'll cover in the next nugget is how to use data tables. And believe it or not, that's almost all you really do need to know to make certain types of GUI tools. We've got a little bit more to go, but I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.